Well, Fresh Baked, I won't waste any time. I'm going to get right into it. The Matterhorn is back. Well, it's coming back, if you believe the Disneyland website. The Disneyland website breaks down its calendar daily, weekly, or monthly. But if you look at the daily calendar, it'll tell you which attractions are going to be open, or I should say which attractions are going to be closed on that particular day. And on July 1st, the website shows Jungle Cruise and the Matterhorn, as it has basically for all days before this. But if you switch to July 2nd, it's just the Jungle Cruise. This suggests that the Legendary Mountain in Fantasyland will be back on July 2nd, that they have completed whatever it is that they're doing, for now at least. And the Matterhorn will be ready for guests, ready to run on July 2nd. We will, of course, probably never know for sure what it was that they were working on or when it will go down again, but she is coming back, and that's pretty much all that matters, right? The only thing that matters is that she's back. Personally, I've had kind of a bad feeling about the Matterhorn's long-term future for quite a while now. I've heard enough stories. So I'm here and I'm ready to appreciate the Matterhorn for as long as possible, for as much as possible. Meanwhile, if you're using the same trick that we just did to determine when the Matterhorn's coming back, you can expect the same thing to happen for Buzz Lightyear. I know you've all been asking, when is Buzz Lightyear going to be reopening? June 26th, all right, June 26th. So whoever had Buzz Lightyear going down for some sort of reskin as part of a future Tomorrowland thing, you're out of the pool, sorry. Which leaves the Jungle Cruise as the only remaining attraction in Disneyland that is still under some kind of repair or refurb or something to that effect, attraction-wise. Now, we don't have any updates as far as Jungle Cruise goes. We know only that it's going to be back by summer, they said. But we do have this recent photo sent to us by a Fresh Baked Street Team member, Adrian, and this is the most recent picture of the Jungle Cruise. It's the best picture we've seen so far. It's the most closest one. Now, it doesn't really, you can't see around the corner to where Trader Sam would be, but you can see that they're creating ways for construction crews to cross that drained river and to get to the other side so that they can do this. That is what we're going to find when the ride reopens, Trader Sam's Gift Shop. Man, what a wild and strange ride Jungle Cruise has been since it opened. This is an OG attraction. This is an opening day attraction, 1955. Quite a story. The Jungle Cruise story is amazing, and it's something that I kind of want to tell one day, hopefully soon, if I have the opportunity to do that, because there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of things happening in the Jungle Cruise that we don't understand or realize living, the Jungle Cruise that we know today. It wasn't like it was back then, as it is now. There were no trees back then. I checked what I said before. There is actually another attraction. We forget about this. There's another ride that is currently under construction, remodel, refurb, or whatever, and that's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Big building's still there. So too are the walls around the Gag Factory. But our story today is that Gadget's Go Coaster is running. So I took a ride to see what we could see. I wasn't expecting much, just more big building. But we found more than I was expecting, actually. You could actually see something. It's hard to pick up through the lens, but I can tell you that I can see it more clearly with the eye. But that, to me, looks like a big hole in the side of the building. Not sure what the intention is. Perhaps a way in to the main, show building from Toontown proper. So I went again through the tree. That looks like I-beams, right? Those look like I-beams. So obviously, it's still pretty barren inside that show building. They built the shell, but that's about it so far. By the way, that hole that's in the side of the building is behind that little, dining area that they have, where their city hall, and then the hot dog place and the ice cream and then the fruit cart, all that. That hole is right there behind that area. So if we're to believe the previous reports that the entrance to the attraction would begin at the Gag Factory, which is currently behind construction walls, so I'm thinking that these things may in fact still be related, then I guess we'll probably have to make some kind of left coming out of Gag Factory, out of the backside before they make it into that opening. Here's a look from Google Earth that's been recently updated, and that's our gap in the building right there. From another angle, here's the proper Gag Factory entrance, and I assume you're going to go straight through. And it does look like, kind of a small left to get to that gap. We'll come back in a few weeks to ride Gadget's Go Coaster again to see if there's any update on how they're connecting the Gag Factory and the Runaway Railway show building, to see what they're doing there, if it's going to be like a tunnel. That'd be neat. Hopefully we can find, I wish they'd open up the treehouse. Maybe I can get a shot from the treehouse. It's closed presently, but we'll keep our eye open for that. Otherwise, let's get to the operations updates, because that's pretty much what's left of the updates for Disneyland, or and DCA for that matter. We'll start with the lockers where they are still closed inside the parks. This shot is from Main Street, Center Street, I should say, at Disneyland on Saturday. Lockers are still closed. They did, though, at least move the fuel rod stations out because they were present, or before they were behind the closed doors. Now they're out there in the open to the left next to the dentist's office. So if you need to exchange your fuel rod, you can do that at least. But the lockers inside are still closed. Lockers outside in the picnic area, the big lockers there, or the lockers to the left of the entrances at both DCA and Disneyland are open. You have to leave the park, go to your locker, then come back in if you want to use them, but they're there. Unfortunately, I don't have any information on when they might be reopening. We'll file this, or we'll put this in the June 15th bucket. How about that? And hope that's when they bring back this, plus a whole bunch of other stuff, hopefully, crossing our fingers. We'll head next to Adventureland to check out the Indiana Jones virtual queue. We demoed it this weekend, and I can confirm, first of all, that it's not nearly as competitive as trying to get a Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. As a matter of fact, I had forgotten about it. I rolled in at 8:30, looked at it, it wasn't available yet, and then I forgot. And I came back, or I remembered to look at the app again at 9:30. So I checked the app at 9:30, and I was able to get boarding pass 18. And that was to return in an hour. Now, the reason why I was back in an hour and not right away is because the first couple of hours of opening at Disneyland, they left to standby. Indiana Jones was standby until, I'm going to guess, somewhere around 10 o'clock. When I arrived at 9:30, they were emptying the standby queue. They emptied it completely, and then they let the virtual queue boarding groups come in. So the first couple hours, maybe the hour and a half or something to that effect, is standby only, which is good. I like that. I like being able to give those early risers the chance to get in the Indiana Jones ride. You could do that. You can go standby and then get a virtual boarding pass later, so you can ride it 2 times or even more if they go back to standby. I wasn't able to confirm if or when, I ran out of time on that day, but I wasn't able to confirm if or when they return to standby later on in the evening. That's something that I'm going to pay attention to in future visits. Or Fresh Baked, if you've been in the parks, Street Team members, if you've been to the parks and if you've noted a specific time when the virtual queue ended and they began standby, I'm assuming somewhere around early afternoon or late afternoon, something like that, if at all. By the way, stay tuned for a conversation that we're going to be having in a separate video about virtual queues and FastPass and the reservation system and all of these things, and what I feel like Disney's plans are for the future. Cliff notes, spoiler alert, I have a feeling the Indy virtual queue is here to stay, and we might see not a complete remodel of the system, but a few more attractions added to the virtual queue system. Stay tuned for that. I don't know when I'll have that, but that's a very interesting conversation to be having, particularly as it relates to reservations. Be ready for more reservations and more virtual queues. We're going to go back to Toontown, actually. We should have stayed in Toontown before. We're going to go back to Toontown because I want to see what's happening with the Disneyland Railroad. We heard reports that they were boarding guests only in Toontown and then deboarding them only in Toontown. Or I should say, everybody deboards in Toontown. And I have confirmed both of those are true. You can get on the train only at Toontown Station. The Disneyland, or the Main Street station, is closed. It's open for guests to exit the train. You can exit the train from any station, New Orleans Square, Tomorrowland, Main Street, or Toontown, but you can board only in Toontown. And if you do make it all the way around, that's all you can do. You can make one full circuit, one trip around the park. If you board in Toontown, everybody gets off in Toontown. Now, the question is, for those of you who aren't sure, why are they doing this? Why are they making it so that you can only board in Toontown and you must exit in Toontown? To make a long story short, people aren't getting off the train. And with this limited capacity, with limited guests that they can allow onto the train, there are cases. There were too many instances where a train rolled into the Main Street station and nobody got off. Nobody got off, so nobody could get on. And so you've got this stagnant queue of guests checking their watch, asking cast members, nobody got off the train. We can't get on the train. Why can't we get on the train? We've been waiting here for X minutes. Nobody's getting off the train. What are we going to do? Well, that's their plan. They're going to centralize all the guests so there's not a bunch of orphaned train fans out there waiting for people to get off the train. They're going to centralize everything into Tomorrowland. Everybody boards there, everybody exits there. And again, you can exit at any, if you want, you can exit at Main Street. You just have to exit at Toontown if you make it all the way around. So while it does create what looks to be a very intimidating looking queue at Toontown Station, that wait, as you see it here, that wait was about 30-40 minutes. And that's not too bad. That's not too bad considering everybody's in one station and there's limited capacity. You could experience that on a regular basis at Disneyland before, waiting 30 or 40 minutes at a train station. We'll hop over to DCA next to check in on Avengers Campus, where there's a couple new developments. This first one, the street team is tripping in again. This one is from Nemo Finder 22, and he's sending us this shot of Avengers Campus from Google Maps. And that's the entrance to Avengers Campus, obviously, but what is that? Let's go to Google Earth. Let's get our own look at this and see what we can figure out. Okay, as we come around, there's a path and a structure, and then we'll keep circling around. Okay, so as we enter the land, we can kind of bear right, and I guess turn left down this little path here, or maybe that's an exit from that structure. Perhaps this is the way in. And then you go into whatever that structure is, then exit out the other side. Curious. I figure this is one of three things. One, some kind of fast pass station or something to that effect. Two, character meet and greet. Or three, absolutely nothing, backstage maintenance or something like that. What are your thoughts? I mean, I guess the question is moot anyway. We're going to find out what that is in exactly 3 weeks or something like that. But I mean, it's still a curiosity. And for my money, I'm hedging towards option 3, unfortunately. I feel like this is probably nothing. FastPass seems unlikely because we already know that Web Slingers is going to be virtual queue and it's going to be that way for a little while. So they wouldn't build this whole magical FastPass station for Web Slingers. We've already got a FastPass station for Mission Breakout, or do we? We're going to get to that in a second. So it's not for that either. Character meet and greet, I mean, it could be, but this doesn't exactly scream, this little section, the design of this section does not exactly scream, come on in and take a picture with some heroes. It doesn't look like that. To me, it looks like a shed and a way to walk into that shed. So I feel like this is probably nothing, just maintenance, but it's fun to look at. I like to be able to try to guess what things are. That's the whole reason why the Knothole Gang exists to begin with. So that's my guess, is structure. It's a fort, okay? Now, like I said, we're going to stay at Avengers Campus and head over to Mission Breakout, where the FastPass kiosks have been removed from the FastPass station out in front of Mission Breakout. The Art Deco structure is still there, but the kiosks have been removed. Now, I don't think this means necessarily the end of FastPass, not for this ride or any other. We could have that conversation, perhaps, if we see them take out another one, maybe 2 more, if we start seeing multiple FastPass stations disappear. Right now, this is just a curiosity. And what seems more likely is that they're updating it. That seems more likely that we're getting a new FastPass station, because you'll notice that what's there is still that same old Art Deco installation that they had for Tower of Terror. And the kiosks were also that Art Deco, I think it was a suitcase or something like that. Looked like, stacked suitcases. And Disney has gone through a lot of trouble to update Avengers Campus and to update Tower of Terror to have it blend in to Avengers Campus and have that also blend into the old Hollywood backlot. And meanwhile, they kept that Art Deco station. It didn't make any sense. So what makes more sense is for them to do something about it, to finish the job and finish the FastPass station so that it does look right. The only problem with that theory is that it assumes that Disney has a replacement ready to go. Otherwise, they wouldn't even begin the process. You don't start a job unless you're going to finish that job. Finishing the job would mean bringing in new FastPass machines. So we're going to find out. Again, we're going to find out in a few weeks, I think. Or maybe it may take a little while longer depending on what they do with the overall structure for the FastPass station. But we're going to find out soon enough. And with that, we're going to end with another loving look at the Quinjet. It just looks so good up there. And I'm willing to bet it will look even better when we're standing between Pym's Test Kitchen and Avengers headquarters. Majestic even. I can't wait. Okay, that's it for this week, guys. If you're in the park now or in the future and you see anything interesting, let us know. Join the Fresh Baked Street team. Let us know. You can add us on Twitter at Fresh Baked Disney. That's fresh with no E. Or you can DM me directly on Twitter as well. Or you can send me an email, david@freshbakedisney.com. Let us know. Send us a picture, send us a video. Tell us a story about what you experienced, the repair, the operational situation. If something was out of whack, let me know. Otherwise, follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked. And we're on TikTok as well, Fresh Baked Disney. And until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. We love you guys very, very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.